What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I've got something super special for you. I've got on the line here Jason Potter, all the way from Australia. We haven't seen him for a little while. We're going to catch up, see what's been going on, see what the future holds, and just get his view on everything that's happened with Enertion. So Jason, how are you, mate?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I'm okay. Not too bad.
You've been pretty quiet, bro. What's been going on?
Yeah, I guess you've got some questions. I guess a lot of people have some questions about what's been going on with myself and my company, Enertion Boards. Before we get into those questions, I do want to make a statement. The last few months have been tough, and yeah, I want to thank all of my family, my staff, my friends, fans of electric skateboard building all over the globe. I appreciate everyone's support, and it's been a hell of a journey the last 6 years. But unfortunately, this week we've had to make some tough decisions, and Enertion Boards Proprietary Limited has had to voluntarily enter into a liquidation process, which means the company will be wound up and will no longer exist, basically. So yeah, it's been tough, but I'm here now to put this message out, and I accept full responsibility for all the decisions I made. And I apologize to anyone who has been let down or disappointed by the outcomes here. And we did our best, our team did our best. We did some amazing things over the years. We should all be proud of it. And it's a tough market out there, and unfortunately, like many other bigger, more well-resourced companies before us, we can't keep going.
Yeah, it's very gracious of you to say that, Jason, about the people you've let down. I understand there's probably quite a few people out there that are a little bit upset, but before we get into all that, tell us what actually went wrong at Enertion. How did we go from being the DIY electric skateboard parts provider and complete provider in the end to where we are now, a company that's wound up and not trading anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 6 years. We started in a garage. I had a credit card with $7,000 on it, and I took a lot of risks. Some of them paid off, some of them didn't. And I was quite naive, I guess, to think I could achieve some of the things that I set my mind to, but more often than not, we were able to achieve amazing things. We brought the VESC motor controllers to the market and commercialized them, and promoted them to people. It was the first time anyone in the world finally had a good quality motor controller to build electric skateboards. We brought lithium-ion batteries with built-in BMSs and built-in on-off switches. We brought that into the mass market and really wanted to make building electric skateboards easy for everyone. And we built the forum, Electric Skateboard Builders, and invited all the vendors of different parts on there so that they could all get involved with the community and help educate the masses and bring the community up and build the industry. And you know what? It's a very, very niche industry. Yeah. The hobby scale of it isn't really something that I was that interested in long term. I had a dream to build a brand, and a global brand, a brand that would be recognized by people on countries all over the world. We sold products to over 70 different countries.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would deny that Enertion was the brand, the DIY electric skateboard brand. The Foxbox motor controllers and some of the stuff you did in the early days were really important to the DIY scene and where we are now. But it seemed on the face of it that this was a really successful business. At one point, absolutely dominating everywhere. You couldn't talk about DIY electric skateboards without talking about Enertion parts. So where did it go from that to where we are now then? How did that happen?
Look, it's easy to become a leader in a small group in a niche market. That's something that we were able to achieve, but that wasn't enough. We needed to grow the brand into a broader market. I always had the dream of building a brand up and selling the business to a larger business to take it to that next level. And that's why we started putting all the parts that we developed into a complete unit. That was always inevitable in my mind. And that's what our customers always wanted. Every time we sold people parts, individual parts, we would spend hours on email and in the forums teaching people how to put it all together. So that's efficient. That's not efficient use of our time. And it was a natural progression to put all of those parts into an electric skateboard and produce it on a mass scale. And that allowed us to bring in more people. We could appeal to a larger market. And it was my belief that would build a stronger brand and make us more appealing to being sold in the future to a bigger business. And we actually came very close to that. At the end of last year, we were in talks for months we had 2 deals that we were working on, 2 investors looking to take a stake in the business and buy it outright as well. So we got very close, but in the end, as we've started to see 2019, at the end of 2019 and 2020, it's a tough market out there. It's extremely challenging. There are companies that are far more capitally resourced than Enertion was. We bootstrapped our business and invested every dollar back into it. Our customers were our investors. We didn't have large banks putting money into us, and those larger companies have also fallen as well.
Yeah.
So it's just really tough.
So you're talking about Boosted Boards there, but Boosted Boards is a completely different type of organisation. Like you said, they had a lot of money, and venture capitalism is its own beast, and having to continually grow and stuff. But you were on the different end of the market. You were quite agile, smaller company, everything going well. But I mean, are you saying that the completes, the Raptor, is what sunk Enertion, basically? Is that what you're trying to say to us?
Not really. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be factored in when you look at what brings a business down. I mean, we were operating on a global scale, global logistics, customers in 70 different countries, all different languages, different currencies, different laws. We had staff in multiple different countries, different time zones. And yeah, we had a product that was, quite innovative in terms of the technology that we were trying to put into it, the things that we were doing. We didn't necessarily take parts off the shelf and just put it together. We maybe stupidly decided to try to innovate in a lot of areas and bring a lot of things together and make the complete product. And at the end of the day, when you put all that together and you don't have enough capital to do it properly, it's very, very challenging. It's very difficult. And in the end, you just have to make profit. You have to be a profitable business, and you have to grow. And if you can't be profitable and if you can't grow, you're not a business.
Sure. And the way they're talking about funding of the business, the way you used to fund it was take pre-orders for parts, and then produce the parts and dish them out. Was that also part of the problem, because you were always having to get new funding in from pre-orders to be able to pay for production?
Yeah, that business model was a failure. That is for sure. You cannot scale a business with that model. It's okay as a hobby business if you're making little batches of PCBs and trying to do innovative things, and if you're selling to people in a small community and everyone sort of is mates, and it's all good and well. But there's a certain point where you have to step up and be a real business, and that's what we were trying to do. We had secured government grants in Australia. We had applied for purchase order financing through the Australian government. We had started to modify and restructure our business model so that we weren't doing these pre-orders and doing these small batches. We were trying to get resellers and distributors on board, and we were successful in Europe. And we went on a global tour to sign up these distributors, and we were successful and actually had about 150 Raptors on order just from Europe. And we were trying to get around 200 Raptors on an official purchase order. The government had pre-approved us in Australia to finance that, so we didn't have to rely on our customers. So we came very close to restructuring the business model and funding the business in a way that would have been sustainable. But I mean, that's only part of the story, unfortunately, and yeah, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, sure. And let's talk about the Raptor 2. So it was your second complete board. You learned some lessons from the Raptor 1. There were a lot of hard lessons in the development of the Raptor 2, I think you'd agree. The hub motors, the urethane on the wheels, all these things. Do you think that also contributed to your woes? I mean, halfway through the production of the Raptor, you fired an entire factory, an entire production line, right?
That happened more than once. We fired 2 of our production lines in China. I mean, the thing is, manufacturing a fairly complicated hardware product in another country, managing it via phone calls and chats and things like that, it's difficult. And in the end, you can't accept things that aren't done the right way. You have to have standards, and if people can't meet those standards, you are forced to make big decisions. And most of the time, that means firing a team or firing a supplier and finding new suppliers and reworking and iterating. And it's a lot of work. And I think at the end of the day, we didn't necessarily realize how long it would take to get things right.
Yeah.
And we certainly didn't factor in that some Chinese suppliers like to deliver a quality batch at the beginning and then change things up at the end. And we've learned a lot from that, and I'm a smarter man, I'm a smarter businessman because of those experiences.
A lot of your former staff have been quite public about falling out with Enertion or with you or whatever. What happened with all the RAs and all the guys? There's been quite a lot of public stuff mentioned about it. So what's your side of it?
Look, I'm familiar with at least one of our former employees who left the company unannounced, and that was difficult for us to deal with. And human resources, people, it's one of the hardest things. I don't know if you've ever had to run a company with remote employees that are all in different time zones, and it is challenging. And we definitely weren't the best at that. There's a lot involved in just getting the people part of a business right. But each to their own. I mean, not everyone is going to be happy about decisions that are made, and unfortunately, some of our staff at the end just didn't believe in our mission and didn't want to go on that ride with us.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, I believe it's true that you owe the RAs like money, and you owe people money that worked with you. So you've got to understand that perhaps there's going to be some bad blood over that, and they knew probably towards the end that they were never going to get their money back, which is, I assume, why they.
I don't think that's true. No? Some of our RAs are some of those
the lights guys just changed, bro.
It's just my screen. Some of those guys, they're some of the most passionate and skilled and dedicated people that work for Enertion, and Enertion wouldn't have achieved half of the things we achieved, we wouldn't have been able to service the countries that we were servicing without those guys. And they know who they are, and I've had the pleasure to meet with some of them personally and share a beer and have a ride. And they're great guys. At the end of the day, when money gets involved and businesses fail, people get hurt. It's not something that I ever planned to do, but the good news is we've entered a voluntary liquidation process, which in Australia, if you're not familiar with ASIC, it's corporate law essentially. But to wind up a business in Australia, there's a strict set of guidelines that you have to follow, and
right.
We've started that process. It's a voluntary process that we've entered into, and anyone who has valid claims of monies owed or outstanding invoices can make a claim, and their case will be looked at. So we're doing everything we need to do there to try to make things right. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I take full responsibility for this situation. I apologize that it didn't work out, and all of these guys, I mean, they are some of the true legends of electric skateboard building, and they will be remembered that way.
Sure, and the claims, does that also go for customers? Because I mean, I believe there's people with outstanding orders at Enertion for parts. Is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes rumors on the internet end up blowing things out of proportion. I mean, I think there's no lie that Enertion has struggled over the years to deliver orders on time, and that's for many reasons. It's primarily because of our model of taking pre-orders and then doing batches with Chinese manufacturers who delay things. I mean, that always creates problems, and people want refunds. But if you go back and look at the entire 6-year history and look at all of the orders we've ever taken and delivered, we've delivered 98.6% of all of our orders. I mean, we actually have delivered a hell of a lot of our orders. And over the last 6 months, those 1.6% of people that didn't get their orders because of various reasons, we've processed now just over $150,000 in refunds for anyone who hasn't had their order delivered. So we've put in a huge effort to try to rectify these things, and obviously we've ended in voluntary liquidation, which is the official way to wind things up, and it gives everyone a path to resolution.
Sure. So tell us then, this Enertion USA guy, who some people watching this will be familiar with, there was a guy popped up on the forums saying that he was sort of representing Enertion. He bought some stock and he was selling the Unities in the US on Amazon. And I think it's what you alluded to when we did an interview in Paris. You said, in the next few weeks there's going to be motor controllers on Amazon. A lot of people doubted that, but it did happen. What was the deal between you and Enertion USA?
I can't speak to the exact nature of the deal, but we had always realized that for the brand to grow and be a global brand, we couldn't service all of those markets, US, Europe, Asia. We could not service those markets as a small business based in Australia. What we had to do is take a leaf out of companies like Evolve's book, for instance, where they have official distribution agreements with basically they're small businesses in each market, and they are officially set up to be the distributor, and they order the products in bulk and handle all of the import processes and the laws and the taxes that are involved in that, and they service the local customers, and they supply the products to the local customers, and they understand how those retail laws are in those countries. And we knew early on that we had to restructure our business model to survive, and we started that process, and a part of that process was to have a US based distributor. We'd also set up one in Europe to handle Europe as well. So we were well on the way to achieving that. And as it turned out, those steps also were a part of how we could better finance the business through some of the Australian grants for export finance grants. So we had approvals in place for all those things. We were doing all the right steps. We had advisors helping us along the way from the government here to try to set those things up. And it's just very, very complex. And there are a lot of balls in the air. And, you know, if you drop one, it's easy to drop a few others as well.
Sure. So there's rumours of a court case with this guy from America. I mean, I'll tell you what I've heard. You can tell me more about it if you like. I've heard that you switched the Amazon page, the account details, so that the last, I think it was like, I heard like $14,000, instead of going to him, went to you. Is that true?
I'm not familiar with any court cases, so I can't speak to that. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of happy people at the end of the day if they've been involved in a business and there's still money owed. But that's why we've entered into voluntary liquidation, to make sure that these people, whoever they are, can make claims and get a proper resolution.
Sure, but I mean, is that true about switching the account on Amazon?
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? Okay, cool.
No.
Okay, so Jason, you were quite aggressive towards some of your rivals on the internet. I mean, Enertion as a business was quite an aggressive business. In hindsight, do you think that was the way to go, or do you think you were too much or not enough?
I don't know if aggressive is fair. I mean,
I don't mean as in yeah, probably. I don't mean as in like, I mean, you were quite, you went after your rivals, I think. I mean, on the internet, it's on the forums and stuff, you were quite sort of, yeah, I suppose the word's aggressive, I think, yeah.
Look, if you look at the situation on a macro level, I created a forum and invited my competitors onto that forum so that they could talk about their products and introduce their wares to new customers and grow their businesses and help build an industry. So, I mean, I don't really agree that I was ever aggressive, but certainly in competition, it can get heated, definitely. And I'm a passionate guy. I always had big visions about what I wanted to achieve. And, you know, sometimes people take that the wrong way. I apologize if anyone feels like I was aggressive towards them. It's certainly not my intention to come across that way. I'm just a normal guy who wanted to have a successful business and had big visions and big dreams. And I wanted to build the industry up. And, you know, I wanted it to be, I had certain ideas of what it would be. And, yeah, unfortunately, some of those things I haven't been able to achieve, and quite a lot of them, though, I think we were able to achieve, and I'm pretty happy with where the industry got to ultimately.
Yeah, it's a completely different industry from when I first got into it in 2016. It's changed a lot. But if we talk about the forum, Jason, obviously you had the DIY Electric Skateboard Builders Forum, which was very successful. And in 2009, there was a great forum switch. Now, I was part of the private chat where we were discussing with you about the forum, and the community wanted to take ownership of that forum. And I remember you asking for, I think it was $1 million pretty much, for the forum to be switched over. But in the end, the leading members of the community created a new forum and everyone switched. What do you think about
that? Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's somewhat surprising that I built a forum that was the number one place to go for like 4 or 5 years, and it took that long for people to actually get the balls to go and do something of their own creation. And in the end, I mean, really, the fact that it took so long was a bit of surprise. I mean, I never forced anyone to use that forum. Everyone went there freely of their own accord, and people can go there or they can go elsewhere. But I think without that forum, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'm proud. I'm proud that we have achieved that. And at the end of the day, people are going to go where they feel comfortable, and people are going to form little groups. And to be honest, I actually some of the people that left the forum, I really didn't like some of the topics that they would speak about. The forum nearly was turning into Reddit there for a while, where people were talking about things that weren't really appropriate for an electric skateboard forum. So in a way, it's these people going elsewhere. It's cleaned things up a little bit, I think, and hopefully people can just focus on making the industry better, bringing up the vendors that need the support the most, the people who are innovating, the people who are really trying hard to bring new products to the market and sell them and make some money and build a customer base. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. And if people lose sight of that, which it's very easy to lose sight of that when you're busy doing dick jokes every 5 minutes, I mean, the industry is going to suffer, and I hope it doesn't go that way.
So what's the future of your forum, the DIY Electric Skateboard Builders Forum? It goes down, it comes back up again, it goes down, it comes back up again. What's the future for it?
Yeah, so the forum, it's pretty costly to run, and I've never asked anyone to pay a cent to maintain that. There used to be a business that was able to afford to pay for those things, and as I've previously mentioned, that business didn't quite work out, and it has to be wound up. So there's still costs involved in hosting these websites. They're not cheap. At the moment, I've got to pay for that out of my own pocket. I'm unemployed. So yeah, sometimes I don't have any money in my bank account and bills need to be paid. And, that's literally the situation. So I don't know what the future for that is. I mean, maybe people would like to donate. I don't know. It really, for me, the most important thing is being to go into this liquidation process and making sure all of the loose ends are tidied up, and make sure everyone gets fairly treated if they're owed money. We've already worked really hard to do a lot of refunds, but no doubt there are still people who have legitimate claims that have fallen through the gaps that we want to sort out. And after it's all done, I just hope that forum can exist. There's so much amazing information on there. There's still a huge amount of people who use that forum for information. It ranks #1 in Google. It's still a very important resource of information, and I'm passionate about electric skateboards. I don't want that to go away, and I'll find any way I can to keep it around. Maybe people one day will support me in a way to make that happen. I don't know. I haven't got there yet.
So Jason, obviously there's a lot of people out there that probably don't trust you, and maybe even don't like you. Do you see yourself in a leading role in this industry in the future? Are you still electric skateboarding? Is it still a passion? What's going on? What's the future for Jason Potter?
I mean, I'm still passionate about electric skateboards. I mean, that's what got me in this. So many years ago, 6 years ago, I just wanted to make really good electric skateboards. And that passion has made me go down paths that sometimes they're good paths, sometimes they're not so good. But that passion is effective.
Yeah.
People see that, and whether you like me or not, it doesn't matter. I'm a natural leader sometimes when it comes to things I want. I go and I get them and I do what I want and I make things happen. I love designing products. I love electric skateboards. I mean, that's never going to change. Whether people like me or want to trust me or give a shit about me, I mean, it's here nor there. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as I'm happy, and doing what I love and I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I've got two kids that want me to spend time with them, and maybe I could spend some time riding electric skateboards instead of just designing them and talking about them and dealing with all the headaches involved with the business of electric skateboards. Maybe we can just enjoy them and have fun.
Sure. And are you happy? I mean, obviously going through the liquidation of a business and all the stuff that goes with that, I'm pretty sure that's quite stressful. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody at all. But are you happy? Are you, what's your headspace like right now?
It's been extremely tough.
Yeah.
I had staff; their livelihoods were tied to the business. I've got a wife and two children. When I started Enertion in 2014 was the same year I became a father, and Enertion has taken a huge amount of time and energy, and grey hairs have appeared on my head, and it's been stressful. And my wife has, seen that. My kids have seen it. When I was a kid, at about the age of 6, which is how old my boy is now, my dad and mum split up, and he was out of the scene, and I grew up without a father.
Sure.
I know what it's like. So hopefully, all good things will come from this. Hopefully the business gets wound up in a timely manner, and all of the loose ends get sorted out in a formal legal way, so that everyone is satisfied with an outcome. And we've already worked hard to put a lot of things in place already. I mean, it's a tough process, but ultimately, it's the right call, and I'm happy with it, and my family is happy, and we're healthy, and yeah, it's the right thing to do.
So what's the next step for you then? I mean, you say you're unemployed. What are you going to do?
Maybe I'll just go on the forums and troll people. I don't know. I mean, I guess I can read some books and and think about life for a bit. I mean, I don't think I need to rush into any new businesses or anything like that. I've certainly learnt a lot from this process. I think it's priceless. I mean, if you want to learn a lot about business and building websites and engineering and product design and development and customer service and logistics and global trade, I mean, if you want to learn all that, you can't go to university and pay to do a course in that stuff. You get experience doing it in the real world, and I've certainly have achieved a lot over the last 6 years in terms of learning. I've learned so much, so I think that will be applied throughout my life in a positive way. Whether it's in electric skateboarding or not, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll keep electric skateboards for fun and not business. Don't mix. What do they say? Don't mix business and pleasure.
That's
I don't
what
know.
they say, yeah.
But I've learnt a lot, and I'm passionate about helping people, and I'm passionate about the future of electric skateboarding. I think there's huge room for improvement. We had plans that we weren't able to execute. I know that products can be made better, and better performance and better efficiency, and the future is pretty good there. But whether I'm a part of that, I can't say.
Sure. And before we wrap the interview up, mate, is there anything else that you want to speak about, want to say?
Yeah, look, I mean, I just want to accept full responsibility for everything here. I made the decisions at the end of the day, and it led us to this point. I'm here on camera. I want to own up to everything. I'm not hiding from anything. And I've always been open and honest about everything related to the business as best I could anyway. I've always tried to communicate everything along the way, and I think we've been fairly successful doing that most of the time. And at the end, You know, if it wasn't for all of our supporters, our fans, our RAs, the, you know, engineers, you know, everyone, whether you're a customer or not, you know, all those people that have come together and helped us get to the end. You know, I thank you all sincerely. I'm sorry that I let you all down. It was not my intention. And I want to make sure this is all wound up the right way, and everyone's looked after as best we can in that process.
Sure, and good luck with that, Jason. I hope you are very successful in putting, you know, drawing a line under everything, and you know, making sure that, you know, it's all sorted out. So all I can say is thank you very much for coming to speak with me. I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in what you had to say, and they're going to be very interested in your next moves. So listen, good luck, and keep us posted.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. Look, it's good chatting with you again. Maybe next time we have a chat or have a beer. I mean, we won't be talking about Enertion, perhaps, but we can just talk about the stuff we love about electric skateboarding and electric vehicles. And, you know, I think you're a good guy. I like having a chat with you. So
yeah, likewise. We had a great chat in Paris. Really enjoyed it, and it's really good to speak to you again, bro. So listen, let's catch up soon, yeah?
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one, buddy.
So then, guys, Jason Potter, love him, hate him, like Enertion, hate Enertion. I think it's very interesting that he came to speak to us, and I think that there's going to be a lot of questions generated from this chat, and I hope you found it really interesting, guys. So listen, if you've got any questions for Jason on a follow-up video or something like that, put them down in the description. And once again, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.